Hindu nationalism, of course, it was nurtured by the RSS, etc., but there's also a ground-up element to it that we should appreciate, right? The second question you're asking is that, okay, if especially Rajiv, but even Indira Gandhi, they were the first to understand the Hindu vote bank. Why did the vote go to the BJP eventually? That's a complex question, right? The design of the Congress party is that it has to be everything to everybody. So while it's a big tent, right? That's its DNA. There's nothing you can do about it. So all that it's doing to get the Hindu vote bank in the 1980s, it's also trying to get to the Muslim vote bank, right? So similarly, you have the Shah Bano judgment.
That's right.
Similarly, you have the banning of Salman Rushdie's satanic verses, right? That's not because the Congress is a Muslim party or Hindu party. It wants in an ideal world to be a Hindu and a Muslim party. Right.
Yeah.
But in a highly fragmented marketplace, you see this from the corporate world also. You can't be everything to everybody, right? And the BJP understands that it doesn't have the baggage of also having to appeal to Muslims. It can have the single message of Hinduism. Congress's DNA can never afford that, which is why even today it feels like the Congress is schizophrenic. But that's the design of the Congress that Gandhi created. That 100 years from now has not changed. It's the big tent party of Indian nationalism.
But Gandhi is a very interesting example of wanting to be Ishwar Allah Tero Naam.
Yes.
I sabko sarmati de Bhagwan.
Yeah.
I can be inclusive. My politics can accommodate all.
Yeah.
Today you're calling that confused marketing.
I think the confused market. So look, that it's a good question, right? So what's the line between being inclusive or what's the line between being everything to everybody and nothing to nobody? That's the question you're asking, right?
And also that in Gandhi, you have an example of very powerful mass mobilization.
Yeah.
Very inclusive politics.
Yeah.
We don't know if Gandhi had lived, how those politics would have survived electoral tests. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, and the reason I raise this is it's often been suggested that the Gandhian idea of religion and politics is the counter to the Nehruvian consensus. But you are suggesting, if I'm understanding you correctly, and I'm taking my time so I phrase this correctly, that when you try and be an answer to both Hindus and Muslims and all communities as Gandhi did, you're actually spreading yourself so thin that your product is confused.
Yes. And you have to therefore change the conversation.
Yes.
So what did Advani do in 1990, right? He realized that it's very hard to mean everything for upper caste voters and for backward caste voters, but you have to get both together. So he does enough to be able to get both together, but the conversation changes to Ram Mandir. So yes, I mean, Gandhi was very inclusive, but the central feature of his politics wasn't, to give what, Hindus what they want, what Muslims what they want. It was this larger anti-colonial vision, right? So the one solution to this idea, right, is that you can mean everything to everybody on religious lines, but change the conversation to development between the haves and the have-nots, right? Or whatever else. So as a political entrepreneur, you can change the conversation where you sharply target yourself, and the conversation you de-emphasize can be inclusive.
But it's tough to do that in today's context because Modi, I don't know how you see it, but if I were to look at it as a student of politics, Modi has welded Hindutva, nationalism, welfareism, created a sort of new recipient of the state's welfare schemes in the Labharthi, sort of idea of the Labharthi community. So, for the opposition, for anyone who's opposed to the BJP, what is the ideological space? If there's Hindutva Fevicol on one side, what do you see on the other?
So, Barkha, I've said this before on your show, you don't need, in the short term, the opposition should not worry about ideology, right? Because, what is the ideology that connects, Samajwadi Party, Congress? It's a Belpuri. Shiv Sena. So why are you wasting your time on it will evolve. There will be competition within. As far as the opposition...
So when Rahul Gandhi says ye vichar dhara ki ladai hai, you think that's bunkum?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's bunkum. I think that his vichardhara is not shared by his allies.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's not shared. So why not, learn from what the Janata Party did in 1977, which is create short-term organizational unity. 62% of Indians don't vote for Narendra Modi. That's a fact, despite all this. 1 in 2 Hindus don't vote for Narendra Modi. There is, yes, all this Hindutva, but 50% of Hindus are there.
In the Westminster system, you can't measure it by percentage of votes. Right?
That's right. But if the Congress were to move to, from I think it's an 18 to 20% party roughly right now, if it just moves to about a 25-26% party.
I mean, it governed, if I'm not wrong, the UPA had 28% of the vote or something like that.
That's right. But I'm saying the Congress today. So all the Congress, if who am I to give advice, right? As I said, as an academic, I look at the past, not the future. But if there's just one simple question, which is, can you get together to just up your vote share a little bit and hit the BJP vote share a little bit, and in the next election, the BJP becomes a 220 seat party, and let's say the India with the Congress at the helm, the Congress becomes a 120 seat party. That's a very different India, and that does not require a grand articulation of an anti-Hindutva Fevicol ideology by the Congress, by the opposition party.